Welcome, everyone. We're so glad to have you here for the 2023 CLMP training. We're doing it online. We did this all last week at the Michigan Lakes and Streams Association conference, and now we are excited to have all of you with us online who are preferring to join online or perhaps are doing both. So before we get started, we just wanted to give a few reminders about participation on Zoom. It's a best practice to keep yourself muted and your video off during the presentations. That way everyone can hear and there isn't distracting video popping up on people's screens of other participants. So if we see folks that are unmuted or have their camera on during the presentation, we will turn it off for you. We have that power. But just try and remember that. You can see the agenda there on your screen, and that will show you what the layout for the day is. You are welcome to come and go as you feel appropriate. It will be the same Zoom link for the entire day, so you can come and go as you wish. A couple of things, if you're just seeing my lips move and are a good lip reader but not hearing the audio, you see there's information on the screen about how to make sure that your speakers are working. That's always an important thing. So there's an audio settings button at the bottom of your screen typically that you can use to fix and check your audio. If you want to ask questions, at the bottom of the screen, you'll see that chat icon. It looks something like this. When you see that, that's a great place to type in any questions. You can type them in anytime any of us are speaking, and we will get to those during or at the end of each parameter discussion. So that's a great place for you to ask your questions. There may be some points during the presentation where we say you can unmute yourself and ask your question audibly, but the default mode is if you have a question, please type it into the chat. And then if you have any trouble with Zoom throughout the day, you might want to jot down this phone number, 1-800-500-1554. That's Michigan State University's help desk for all things Zoom. So if you have any problems with connecting to Zoom, you're in, but then you got kicked out or something and you can't get reconnected, you can call that number and they will help you out. All right, so at this point, I'm going to hand over control to my colleague, Tamara from Eagle, and she's going to kick us off with the welcome today.
Thanks, Joe. Welcome, everyone. It's really great to have so many participating in our online training today. As Joe said, we had a great in-person training last week, and maybe some of you have done that and are doing this as well, but we're really happy to be able to offer an online version of the training so that more people have the opportunity to participate across the state. My name is Tamara Lipsey. I'm an aquatic biologist with the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy, also known as EAGLE. I've been an aquatic biologist here for 20 years, and a few years ago, I was offered the opportunity to be the EAGLE program lead for MiCorps, and I was very happy to do so and have been enjoying it quite a bit. I want to give a little bit of background about how MiCorps is organized. MiCorps stands for Michigan Clean Water Corps, and under its umbrella, we have 3 different programs that volunteers can participate in across the state. We have the Cooperative Lakes Monitoring Program, which you'll be learning the procedures for today, but we also have the Volunteer Stream Monitoring Program, where we give out grants for startup and implementation of volunteer stream monitoring programs across the state. These usually go to watershed groups or conservation districts, and oops, what happened? And once they establish a program, they need volunteers like you to help out with the stream monitoring. So if you think you might be interested in doing some volunteer stream monitoring program, we have a list of groups available on our website, or you can reach out to anyone on the MiCorps team and we can direct you to somebody. We also have a volunteer stream cleanup grant program where we give grants to different municipalities and they use volunteers to do cleanups across the state. We on our website have a list of past groups that we have given grants to, so that might be another opportunity for you to volunteer. So the Cooperative Lakes Monitoring Program, which we're focusing on today, this year will be its 50th year in collecting data, and we're very proud of that. It's the second oldest volunteer monitoring program in the country. Minnesota is has the oldest lake monitoring program in the country. And I think they started a year prior to us. So we have tons of data available on our online database. It's reliable data and it's used by many people, including us here at Eagle, and then also people who are collecting it. Hopefully you are using it to make decisions on the management of your lake. We are funded through state general funds. That particular funding is called Renew funding. And we also have some funds for our cleanup grants through the special water quality license plates that you can buy, which have a little sailboat on them. So this is one of the places that money goes to. We have a 5-year contract with Michigan State University. Dr. Joe Latimore is the director for administering our program, and then Eric Elgin is also from Michigan State University. Plus, we have 2 additional people from the RSGIS department who are helping us with web updates and database updates. And then MSU has 2 subcontracts with Huron River Watershed Council and the Michigan Lake and Stream Association, both of which have been involved in CLMP for a very long time. And this makes up for a really great team. I couldn't do this on my own for sure. And in addition, because we have a state entity representative, a research entity, a watershed group, and then a riparian property owner group, it really makes for a diverse team that has lots of viewpoints. And I think we work great together. This is our team. As I said, Dr. Joe Latimore is the director for administering the program. Eric Elgin, who you'll hear from first today, is in charge of the Cooperative Lakes Monitoring Program and answers a lot of questions for you, as well as organizes all of this. And I greatly appreciate all his work. Dr. Paul Steen is in charge of both of our grant programs. And he also puts together the individual lake reports every year, which is a huge task. Melissa DeSimone, Mike Gallagher, and Jean Roth are all with Michigan Lakes and Streams Association. Mike is treasurer, where Melissa is their director. And they both are really helpful with giving us volunteer perspectives when we're making decisions, because they are both volunteers themselves. And last but not least, Jean Roth is our logistics queen. She's been in the program for decades and helps get all those bottles and things to you that you need to do your collection, and collects data sheets at the end of the year.
All right, everyone. As Tamara mentioned, I'm Joe Latimore. I am based at Michigan State University in the Department of Fisheries and Wildlife. I'm an aquatic ecologist and outreach and education specialist. So I am really excited to have you all here. And I think we have quite a few folks here today that are new to the CLMP, either just enrolled for the first time or here to learn more about the program. So we want to extend a special welcome to all of you who are new. We collect a lot of data. I'm sorry, I need to correct that. You all collect a lot of data about Michigan's lakes. You can see a map there of all the lakes across Michigan that historically or currently have had data collected through the Cooperative Lakes Monitoring Program. We have really excellent coverage, and you all are contributing to a really important 50-year database on the health of Michigan's lakes. You can find all of that data on the MiCorps website all throughout the sessions today. We're going to be referring you to resources that exist on our website. That's micorps.net. And the data exchange that arrow is indicating is where you will find all of these data dating all the way back to 1974. And there's a lot of other resources available there. For example, we have updated fact sheets that explain kind of the nuts and bolts of each of the parameters. A really nice summary of why we do the things we do in this program. And we find that this is a really good tool for any of you who may be trying to get other people in your community on board with supporting or helping out with CLMP volunteer monitoring. These fact sheets are really helpful for making that case. We also have a manual of all the procedures that we're going to go through today, so you can find all of that there. We have the reports for all the lakes that have been in the program before, if you want to see their data all summarized in a nice PDF report that you can download or print out or read right on your screen. All the schedules for sampling and everything that we're going to be talking about today can be found on that website. And we have training videos. We're recording the training today, and that will be up on the website right now. There's last year's online training is there, but we'll be updating all of that. We also have a few videos from the field where we've worked with volunteers and gone out on lakes, and we've video captured the procedures themselves. So for some of the parameters, you can even see those. So definitely remember, bookmark micorps.net, because it's a great resource for you while you're monitoring our lakes. CLMP is all about monitoring. That's what the M in our acronym stands for. And we know that the number one, use of the data is for making monitoring decisions and managing people's lakes. So management is obviously very strongly linked to the collection of data. But what we're going to be talking about today during the training is monitoring, not what to do with the data afterwards. There's lots of resources out there to help you make decisions about lake management. And we can talk to you about what your data mean after you've been monitoring for a while. But today, we're going to focus on monitoring. So please bear with us if you have questions about management. If questions about management are asked today, we may say, hey, let's talk offline sometime about your question, because we want to really stay focused on the monitoring part of things today. This slide shows a list of all the different parameters that you can get involved with through the Cooperative Lakes Monitoring Program. On the left-hand side are what we call our basic parameters, and these are open to everyone, including new volunteers in the program. And those include Secchi disc monitoring of water clarity and total phosphorus monitoring. And those will be the parameters we kick off real soon here, as soon as we're done here with the welcome. We also offer what we call our Exotic Aquatic Plant Watch, and that's a program where you can monitor your lake for invasive species, really popular program. And also our Score the Shore program, which is looking at the health of the shoreline habitat on your lakes. And all of those are open to first-year volunteers. On the right-hand side are our more advanced parameters, and you only need a year of experience in the CLMP to sign up for those. Chlorophyll is a estimator of how much algae is growing in the water column of your lake. So you can get involved with that after a year of experience in the program. We also have a dissolved oxygen and temperature monitoring program, and a program where you can learn to survey your entire lake for aquatic plants, both native and invasive. We will be covering all of these parameters at some point today, and you're welcome to join in even if you're not signed up, so you can learn more about them. The only one we won't be covering today is the aquatic plant mapping. And we will be working with those lakes that have signed up for aquatic plant mapping to schedule a time that works for everyone. Because as you might imagine, learning to become familiar with all of the different types of plants you might find in your lake and the sampling protocol takes a bit of time. So we will do that on a separate day. So if you're signed up for that program, you'll be hearing from us quite soon to schedule that training. This is designed as a long-term monitoring program. You can hear the pride in our voices when we talk about how we're up to 50 years of data collection in the CLMP. Yes, you can learn some interesting things about your lake by just going out and monitoring 1 year or 1 day. You can learn some interesting things, but you can learn so much more if you stay with the program or your lake stays in the program for multiple years. And so, for example, here's on the screen, I'm showing just a standard timeline of what happens on a lot of our Michigan lakes, going from the first cottages being built on the lake to maybe some invasive species coming in along the bottom of the arrow, moving from part-time visitors to full-time residents around the lake. And as you can imagine, lake conditions can be affected by all of those events. And having a timeline of monitoring data across to see the impacts of some of those changes on the lake can be really, really helpful in developing lake management plans and just kind of generally understanding your lake. So we really encourage folks to monitor for more than 1 year, and it doesn't always have to be the same person, of course. So think about how you may get other people involved so you can kind of pass the baton on to others as time goes by. I also wanted to mention one other thing before we wrap up our little welcome presentation here. We want you to save the date. Every year, MiCorps hosts an annual conference for our volunteers and program coordinators, and we've just set the date for that event. It's going to be October 20th, later this year at Kellogg Biological Station. That's MSU's field station down between Kalamazoo and Battle Creek. We hope you can join us. We'll have a variety of really interesting sessions about topics of interest to our volunteers. So save the date for October 20th, and you'll hear more about that, including agenda and registration options as summer goes on. All right, I just wanted to share with everyone our agenda for today. We're just wrapping up our welcome. Next, right away, we're going to switch over to learning about our Secchi disc and phosphorus monitoring programs. And then at 10:15, we'll have a 15-minute break. At 10:30, we'll come back, learn about chlorophyll monitoring, and then we have a lunch break that I think actually starts at 11:30, not noon. And then actually, I'm realizing we're looking at the wrong schedule here. This is an old schedule. So I'm going to, don't mind me, I'm going to switch us back here where we have the correct schedule, folks. So here we go. Welcome. We're going to do Secchi disc at 9:15, a break at 10:15, at 10:30, dissolved oxygen and temperature. Then at 11:30, we're going to have an hour and a half break for lunch. We're all going to want it by then, I suppose, at least up here in Traverse City where I am. It's a beautiful day. Get a chance to take a quick walk outside. At chlorophyll at 1 o'clock, score the shore at 2. At 3, we'll have another 15-minute break, and then we'll wrap up the day at 3:15 with the exotic aquatic plant watch. So thanks for your patience with me as I realized I was telling you our in-person schedule and not today's schedule.